reflection sets the stage to turn the page. At the raising of the curtain, I am hurting and uncertain of the parts that we have played. Why must the show go on? I can't say these lines again. Why must the show go on? Must I sing this song again? Fading out of the close-up, everybody's reeling, no concealing. Your beauty is seed stealing. Violins are singing, sunset's waiting, radiating. Your entrance is breathtaking. Why must the show go on? I can't say these lines again. Why must the show go on? Must I sing this song again?
Hello, everybody. My name is Drew. Welcome to episode 23 of the Four Wall Sunday Roundtable. We're doing something a little different today. Not going to do a panel. Before we kind of expected everybody to just be kind of tuning out with the election results and everything. So we just didn't want to do an hour show, but we're going to do something really cool and exciting. So I'm joined once again by my co-host, Jeff Croiter.
Hey, Drew.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing good.
The election results, big news. It's what's so exciting is that how many people voted. It's amazing, record turnout. Still, a lot more to come, but very exciting that so many people voted. And also big win. The Giants won a game again. So nice. So many big wins.
I think the Raiders are winning right now too. I think the game might be over, but
Giants won in DC also. So
awesome!
A lot of Washington wins. How was your week?
It was good. Was kind of glued watching the map pretty much for like 4 or 5 days. And this morning, my wife woke up and wanted to start decorating for Christmas. So there it is.
There you go. Great. How's the baby?
Baby's doing good.
Good.
Yeah. So everything's, we're just keeping it pushing. And it was like 80 degrees yesterday in Vegas, and today is 50. So I've been in the desert for 10 years, and we always overreact when it gets super cold. So right now we're just like, turn up the heater, get the beanies on, and we're kind of going crazy.
That's right. Perfect. That's right. Welcome to winter. It's actually, the weather here has been beautiful, it's great timing. So it's been nice to be outside and dancing around. Episode 23, which is kind of amazing.
Yes.
I want to, of course, thank once again Four Wall for hosting this and helping us produce this, and absolutely Drew, thank you again, and Al for putting this whole thing together. And as we do every week, we want to thank Chris Barron for letting us use his amazing song, and we have special guest Chris Barron here with us this week. Let's bring Chris in.
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hi, guys. Jeff.
Chris Barron musician, composer, rock star, lead singer of the Spindockers, and writer of the song we used to open the show, Why Must the Show Go On?
Yep.
Thank you for loaning it to us.
Oh, yeah, and now, Chris, every time that song kicks on, my heart rate immediately skyrockets because it's like it's like it's become the anthem for the beginning of the show, kind of. So every time it comes on, I'm like, oh no, I'm about to go live on the roundtable.
In response to the song.
Yeah, that's really funny. Actually, yeah, I'm sure I would too. It's true though. I mean, anytime I hear it now, I'm sure I will think of this. So thanks.
Yes,
you're very welcome. Thank you guys for using it.
Chris, where are you speaking to us from?
I'm in my apartment in New York City with my guitars and my cats and my wife and my daughter.
Hi, Lindsay. I know you're there somewhere.
Yes.
So the song, Chris, when did you write it? Can you give us a little background of the song?
I wrote it in the early 2000s, and I was in I had a very turgid affair with an actress, and my friend Jeff Cohen and I, who wrote all the songs on that record and produced it together. We wrote that tune together. He was very in and on all of the sordid details as that relationship was falling apart, and we just wanted to write a song that was a lot of the songs on that album. We made a conscious effort to write songs that were could be construed as about a love affair or something like that, but it was really hard to necessarily put your finger on it specifically. Sure. So I thought we did a pretty good job with that.
You did, and now we've turned it into a love affair with live entertainment. So thank you. You've written a ton of songs. Where do you find inspiration? And maybe tell us about one song in particular, your choice. What is do you have a story?
I have a very workmanlike attitude towards songwriting, and I've been doing it since I was a little kid. So the headspace of songwriting is kind of a happy place, escape spot for me that I can get to kind of automatically at this point at 52 after 40 years of writing songs since I was like 12 years old. So inspiration, I've learned to just what is it that Ernest Hemingway said, like any fool can write when he's inspired. I don't really need inspiration. I just, if I'm in a room and I'm working on a tune, I just buckle down and write it. But I come at it from a very crafty, creative writing kind of standpoint, the way a journalist might write an article.
Right. Cool. We speak a lot about collaboration with our guests on the show. So much about the show and so much of what we do as designers and people who work in theaters about collaboration. And so many people play a role, whether on stage or behind the scenes, and add their unique contributions and help create what is presented to an audience or a listener. Mm-hmm. So our question for you is, who are your closest collaborators on an album or show or tour other than the musicians you're on stage banging away with?
Making a record, it's the engineer and the producer. The last record I made is called Angels and One-Armed Jugglers. And Roman Clune and I worked very closely creatively on the record. And he was coming at it from, the standpoint of like, what mics are we going to use? We were both talking about the arrangements of the songs in terms of the density of the piece of music itself and what sounds we wanted to have on there, what actual instruments we wanted to use, who we wanted playing them. In terms of the live show, the Spindockers, we've got it really down to a drill at this point. And we go out with a two-man crew. Matt Garbera is our stage manager, and he is the technician for all the instruments. He does the guitars, the drums, and the bass. And if I need anything monitor-wise, like he's right there. So he's doing the whole stage. And then we have a sound guy. We have a couple different sound guys that we go out with, who generally acts as a tour manager and does the house sound. And we don't have a monitor engineer traveling with us, so he'll supervise monitors as well.
Good, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chris, how involved are you in the stage presentation, like the lighting, stage? Who's handled that for you over the years?
Back in the 90s, when we were sort of, in our heyday, as it were, we had a lot of production. We had a guy named, a lot of our crew guys come from Pennsylvania. It just all started with our management, who had a connection to a couple of people in Pennsylvania. So there's a guy named Jimmy Pednato who put together a lot of the stage production. Back then, I was pretty involved in the stuff like the backdrops and not much in the really technical stuff. And like, but if there was going to be a scrim with something on it, I was art directing that.
Yeah.
Now we've really kind of gone to like a Led Zeppelin style, like just get up on stage, no matter how big the stage is. We set up everything, relatively close together, and we just stand there and fucking rock. It's kind of like there's not a lot of bells and whistles. We really need to make the music, and the performance.
Yeah.
The production, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because it can. So many people know your songs. So, it's, I'm sure every time you play something that's the production you need, everyone's
and you've seen the show, it's very aggressive. Like we're very we're very in your face musically and in terms of, me still moving around and putting my leg over the mic stand. And, it's not a lot of bells and whistles, mostly meat and potatoes.
Did you ever have a lighting designer, like a tour lighting designer that went out with you guys?
Yeah, we had
on the road nonstop.
We had a guy who his name was Jimmy Pednato. And back then, there was a lot of not heavy drug use, but it was mostly like a lot of marijuana and a little bit of some other stuff going on. And so Jimmy was kind of a very smart guy, but at the time his brain was a little bit mashed up, and he didn't know anything about lights. And sometimes he would just be at the light. This is early. He'd be at the light board with his eyes closed, with I guess feeling it or something. And then we were like, Jimmy, Danny, you should go and get a real job at a lighting company and really learn how to do this. You should start out pulling cable and just work your way up from there. And I think he ended up at Claire Brothers. Or Rock Systems Analysts, or he ended up at a big company, his uncle knew somebody. He's from Long Island, and he knew somebody, and he started out at the bottom, and then now he's like a pretty accomplished lighting designer.
Oh, cool. Wow. Tell him to get in touch with us. He'll be a guest on our show. He's a lighting designer. Are you still in touch with him?
I am vaguely, but who you guys would like to have on the show probably is my cousin Pete, who came out with the Spindockers early on,
cool.
just as a guest, and is now he tour manages Radiohead and
that'd be awesome.
Exactly, to talk to.
That would be awesome. Next time we do manager. Impossible.
Well, Jeff, when you get back to to work, you should try that. Close your eyes and push.
I will do that. They don't let me. I'm not allowed to touch the lighting board, so I would just be closing my eyes and whispering to someone standing next to me. In the New York Theater.
There it is.
My friend. I'll get my hand broken.
Okay.
You don't need that. None of us need that.
No. All right.
Well, with that being said, it's time for Jeff's favorite part of the show, my favorite part too, the Jeff's Roundtable Rapid Fire.
And it has become one of my favorite parts of the show.
That's a real graphic.
That is my
person.
It comes together it's dynamic.
And
we're a big deal.
That's my voice with the little, audio adjustment. So if you need any sort of voiceover work,
there you go.
Quinones is your man.
If you need an engineer.
Good to know. Yeah. Good to know.
Here we go.
Alrighty. Let's go.
Ready? Here we go. Chris, favorite food to eat before performing?
I like to eat something sweet, like a cookie or something like that right before I go on. And I like to have a shot of whiskey that I sip in the 15 minutes before I go on. I share me and our drummer do that.
Oh, pre-COVID, I guess.
I think I'm gonna do that for this show. Thank you, Chris. I'm gonna start doing
that. You sip it, and then I usually just a few sips of it. I carry it on stage and I drink it during the show. It's just one shot of whiskey that lasts the whole show. It's great.
This is my fault. We've failed at rapid fire already. We're one question in, we're out. We're done. Okay. Here we go. Right. After a show. How about after? What do you eat after?
A great big Dagwood sandwich or something. But I'm hungry after the show. I have to eat a meal after the show.
Nice. A hobby that has nothing to do with music.
Golf.
Oh, cool. Best advice you were given by anyone and who gave it?
Never marry anyone you've only seen from behind. And I gave that to myself. No, actually, Gene Simmons, we were talking about like just, fans and stuff like that. And he was talking about signing autographs. And it's like, people are going to ask you if you get tired of signing autographs. And he said, you should get worried when they stop asking for your autograph.
There you go. Good. That's great advice.
Take care of the fan.
And innovate. Sorry. There's laughter coming from we go out live and we're delayed by a few seconds, and off in the corner there, I don't know if you've heard laughter, but my wife, Kate, Chris, enjoyed that answer.
Your audience may not know that Jeff and his wife Kate, my wife Lindsay, and I are really good friends, and we all, like, humor-wise, I think we all have each other's number. I got Kate's number, she's got my number.
That's absolutely true. Rapid fire. Something, an innovation that has made your job easier.
Say again.
An innovation that has made your job easier.
Ear monitors.
Yeah.
And ear monitors. Amazing.
Yeah. Something that has gone away that you miss, that's not COVID related.
Like vinyl, but more than vinyl, like stereos. I miss stereos.
Yeah. Something.
What's that? What are those?
Yeah, big machine vinyl.
Yeah. I made the mistake a couple of weeks ago saying that people should download your song. Drew corrected me and said the word is stream, I think now.
Like,
download. Yeah.
Get on the Googles.
Yeah. Right. Where are we? Something that has gone away something you were happy to see. Something that has gone away that you were happy to see go.
Record companies.
That's great. Least favorite thing you have to do as part of your job?
Ride around in vans for hours and hours.
What do you love most about what you do?
Just the raw singing and playing guitar of it. I really still love singing, and I love playing the guitar.
What were you doing when you found out everything would have to be shut down? Where were you?
I was in a club in Connecticut, the name of which I can't remember, with Glenn Phillips of Toad the Wet Sprocket. And we were starting off the tour, first night of the tour, and that gig happened. And then we woke up the next morning not knowing if the rest of the tour was going to happen. The rest of the tour got canceled, and we went home, and I drove him back to Connecticut, and I went back to New York, and I've been in my house ever since.
And here we are. Yeah, that is one of many sad stories that we've heard with the answer to the question. So sorry. Okay, and last but not least, what do you miss most about live entertainment being shut down?
I miss gigs. I miss playing for people. I miss playing for people, and I'm going after this interview. I'm going and meeting a friend, and I wish we could just go to the Rockwood Music Hall and go and not just playing, and just go see bands all night and just drink beer and go from room to room watching bands. I really miss playing, and I miss live.
Hearing.
Yeah. Concert.
Great. So, okay, that the quick fire is over. The rapid fire is over now. Not that we were, but now it's different when there's four people. It really is more like rapid fire. But the spirit of it is still the same. So, what would you have been doing over the last several months, and what are you doing since you were not able to do what you would have been doing?
I missed the absolute shank of my work year. March is when I start, the Spindockers start kicking into full gear. We work now we don't go on a contiguous night after night tour. We go out on weekends to do what we call fly dates. So we fly and we rent a lot of gear over the course of the summer and rent local gear. So I would have been right now, I'd just be finishing I missed an entire year of work. It would have been I would have been super burned out, super psyched for Thanksgiving, go down to my dad's house for Thanksgiving, and I'd be laying on the couch nonstop, just probably watching golf.
Because you would have just busted your ass for.
Yeah, I'd be exhausted now.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted because America.
Yeah, well, different exhaustion. You're exhausted because Drew and I are asking you questions right now. So you can't tour. You missed all that. You missed. It happened. but you've been doing some other things. So what have you been doing to make up for that? Obviously nothing really makes up for that, but what have you been doing over the last few months? I
was working on a musical project that was fun while it lasted, and my wife and I have just begun, and the upshoot of that was that my wife and I realized we really like writing and playing together. So Lindsay Nicole Chambers, who's a musical theater actress, is my wife, and she is actually, it's been really entertaining because as a guy who's been playing guitar since he was 8 years old, my wife has this insane like propensity for picking up fretted instruments. So it's been really entertaining, like the last couple of days, just watching her like be like, okay, an F chord. Okay, boom, I got an F chord. Okay, a B minor. Oh, okay, I got that. And just like picking up chords that took me weeks and months to learn how to play. It's annoying.
F chord is hard.
Yeah, playing the bar chords. It sounds like she like, you know, had a boyfriend who showed her a couple chords in college. Now she's like, well, I should really like figure out how to play guitar. 3 days later, she plays guitar like somebody who's been casually playing for like a year or two.
Amazing.
Annoying.
I look forward to hearing it.
Annoying, but amazing.
Annoying, but amazing. Amazing.
It's cool being married to somebody, being a professional musician and being married to somebody who's a better musician than you are.
Yeah. Well, I am. So yeah, but I'm not a professional musician. And I guess Kate's not a better lighting designer than me. So that doesn't apply at all. But you get the spirit of what I said. Just compliment my wife. That's all.
I get.
That's awesome. And you've been doing shows. You've been doing shows on.
And I've been doing the stage show. Yeah, I should have. You know, anytime I get in front of people, I like forget to like. It's impossible for me to say something that would be good for my career. I'm
trying. I'm helping you. This is me trying to help you.
Help me. Help you. I'm doing a weekly concert on a platform called StageIt.com. StageIt.com. It's the Chris Barron Thirsty Thursday happy hour, and it's like a solo acoustic thing. Lindsay, my wife, does a couple numbers every week with me, and it's actually been really, really fun. It's not a replacement for live shows, but in of itself, it's been incredibly fun. I actually really, like, I'm going to keep doing it after I want to get in front of like human being audiences, and play in rooms full of people, but I'm not going to stop doing the stage at shows because it's very cool. There's a chat. So people one of the things that's sort of annoying in a show is people are talking while you're playing. If people are talking while you're playing, they're disturbing everybody, but it's not that you don't want them to have a good time and talk. It's just so you don't want them to mess up the music. Be distracting to other people. So there's a chat. So people are kind of like talking away and having a good time, and they're not disturbing each other. And if you don't want to look at the chat, you don't have to look at the chat. You just listen to the music. And I've enjoyed it a lot. It's
great.
Cool.
Do you think you've kind of been reaching new fans to kind of going on virtually?
Oh, yes. Reaching new fans and very much consolidating, some old fans, because I've never been interested in playing other people's music and playing covers. You know, I'm like, I'm a songwriter, and as a performer, I just have very little interest in interpreting other people's material.
And you have so much material. You don't.
I have so much material. It's like I have no. I'd rather I have so much material that if I want to learn, I don't know if I could in the rest of my life learn all the songs that I've written. And so if I'm going to learn a song, I'd rather learn something that I wrote and perform it. So I'm not repeating any songs in the calendar month. So, and I'm trying to keep the new stuff coming all the time. So from a repertoire standpoint, it's been, a really fun challenge to like just reach out to some of these uber fans who know more about my music than I do. And try what I've played and when I've played it, and get them to prompt me to dig into some of this weird old stuff. And I own like 20 guitars and about 8 ukuleles. So I'm playing different guitars every week and playing like different ukuleles. Cool. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And you make a little money from this too, right? I mean, this isn't you. Yeah. This is a way for musicians, not just you. This is a way for musicians to actually
it's a paywall.
Make a little bit of the difference of
what the platform with a paywall. And it's great. I have it set like the suggested thing is like, they have like their own currency, but it adds up to $5. The suggested thing is $5.
Right.
But you can pay what you want. You got to pay like one little, whatever they call them, like
right.
one iota centime, whatever.
Yeah.
To get into the show.
Yeah.
But people generally are really generous. I mean,
yeah.
people will pay the $5 thing, or sometimes people, hit me with a lot more than that.
Yeah. Which is very nice and generous. So everybody, not tune in to Stage It, not just for Chris, but for everyone who's playing, anyone who's watching this, definitely check it out. I've tooled around. There's some great performance there. And Chris, you should also mention here, I am helping you again. When do you do it? It's the same every week, right?
Chris Barron Thirsty Thursday happy hour. So it's 4:30 p.m. New York time every Thursday.
There we go.
Thursday.
Also, Thirsty Thursdays. Also, the Spindockers did some online stuff. You guys did some live, live performing.
Yeah, we actually, this is really, you were asking me about this technically, and maybe your viewers will find it interesting. We so we're doing these composite videos that are cut up, so split screen kind of thing, and it's kind of like what you're seeing here on this show, where sometimes it's all all of us, and sometimes it's one person's face, etc. But the way we did it was our drummer played drums to the album track, and then I'm in the studio some days later listening to his drum track and the album, and the other guys each individually are listening to the album track and the other tracks that the other guys have previously laid down, and then you take the album out and you got the four of us playing together, and they've been getting like 100,000 views or something like that. It's been cool.
And where do people see that?
It's on Facebook and Instagram.
Great.
And we should have a YouTube channel, but for some reason that's
who knows where we talk about this all the time. With everyone who knows where you're supposed to be. You're out there. That's nice.
We're out there. You can find us.
I have to say, you didn't even tell me about it. One day your face popped up on my Instagram feed, and I was like, what the hell? What's this? It's like, oh, they're playing a song. And it's great. It's also definitely absolutely worth checking out.
Yeah, they're coming out really good. It's one of those things. I haven't played with these guys since January, and you go in and you just do your one part, and then I turn on the thing when it comes in for approval, and I'm like, this sounds great. Wow, we're pretty good.
We're pretty good.
Right.
Years later. All right. You had to leave 10 minutes ago, but can I ask you two more questions?
Yeah.
Can we? Drew, we probably don't have time, but we'll do it. This will be really fast. This is not a yes or no, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. So, do you think people who pivoted away from the arts over the last few months will come back? People that you've spoken to, are they just doing other things? Are they like purged, ready to come back to the their jobs?
I'll speak frankly, like the people that I know, my artist friends, are like hardcore, ditch digging, pipe hitting survivors, Yep. And, like they're not going anywhere. I don't know the people who are going to drop out of this, but I would imagine that like this job is so grueling, and I never even tell civilians, like non-show business people, never even talk to non-show business people about this, because nobody wants to hear, about the long van rides or sleeping on the floor of like an airport, terminal, or like the stupid stuff that you have to do, even like when you've really gotten somewhere and you're doing like a gig that pays good money, there's still a lot of like, just nose to the grindstone stuff to this. And so I think there's a lot of like, people who are probably gonna, I would imagine, like they will, get out of this. But all my friends are like, gypsy robe, hardcore, like, and none of them seem to be getting out. Maybe a couple of them, but most of them seem to be figuring out getting by.
I feel the same way. All right. One last question. What advice do you have for young artists and musicians starting out right now?
I mean, as I like hit my 50s and I am, not to be corny, but like pursuing mastery, my shortcomings, I can trace them all back to my shortcomings in my fundamentals. The fundamentals that I neglected are now my weaknesses as a professional musician. So I would say, like, no, if somebody's telling you, somebody like is like telling you to work with a metronome or whatever the equivalent is of your like very, very basic fundamental parts of your job in entertainment, if somebody's telling you you need to be like really paying attention to like the arpeggios and the scales or what have you, you like do it. Humble yourself before this. This is not supposed to be easy, but it's so rewarding. And as down the line, you're going to be really, really glad that you became a real musician or a real engineer, and you understand like the science behind what you're doing. You understand the basic concepts, because those basic concepts you're going to be dining out on those basic concepts for the rest of your life as an artist. It's really what it's all about. And you're going to be like sitting around with like your fellow, old folks who are still doing this, talking about that fundamental shit and talking about young people who don't get it, when you're old. So just dig in, be a real musician, be a real artist, be a real engineer, be a real whatever you are. And that means like attend to the fundamentals. Yeah.
That's also happens to be great advice for people who've been doing this for 25 years. Now is an opportunity to continue to get better. You can't hone your craft by standing in a room, but there's a way to get better somehow.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. You were asking like, what are you up to now? And I'm doing, these concerts, but really what I'm doing is like taking a moment and circling back to a lot of fundamentals.
Yeah. Great. Chris Barron, thank you so much for coming on the Four-Wall Roundtable.
Thanks for using my song on your show, man.
Oh my God, of course.
All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much again. Thanks, and have fun with have a couple beers for Jeff and I when you go out right now.
Apologize. It's our fault.
All right, Chris. Thanks, man.
Kate, I love you. Bye.
That was awesome.
We thought this show was going to be a half hour total. In fact, I think I promised my wife we weren't going to go over 30 minutes, but here we are. We won't so much longer. So, Drew, where are we? What do we do from here? We're just going to talk for a few minutes about what we do and why we did this.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is our 23rd, and it's hard to believe that we've actually done 23 of these. Mm-hmm. And I actually want to say that it's come to mean a lot to me. I look forward to these Sunday discussions in a way that I never thought I would or never anticipated before the shutdown. And definitely part of it is that it gives me something to do. But also making these personal connections with our guests and with everyone. These are people I never would have had these kind of connections with, and learning about them as artists and people, and also learning about how passionate everyone is about what they do and really learning why they do it. So that's, it's the love of the industry that has been a common thread through all these episodes that really has kept me going through this, has helped keep me going. And I will say the connection is not just with the guests. I've known Al Ridella, who helps produce the shows, one of the show's producers. I've known him for years, and he and I have become much closer since starting to do this. And Drew, you and I didn't know each other before this, but now we speak all the time about things far beyond this show. And I enjoy that all the time. How's your experience been?
Yeah, and the crazy thing too is when all this started, if you would have, said, "Hey, Drew, you're gonna kind of have a virtual friend." I mean, that's kind of essentially what you and I are, because we never met in person. Yeah. But right. You look at my call log, it's Jeff and Al. But normally part of my job is to interview, folks like yourself, Jeff, about your work, about your design and how you use Four Walls gear. And that's part of, that's kind of what I was hired to do. That's part of it, at least. And the last 6 months, I've been able to talk to some of the most respected lighting designers in the industry, and it's just been great to talk to them about life, work ethic. Obviously, because it's not talking about work, you know, because they're just not working.
Right.
And like I said, you know, you and Al have become, you know, kind of become my friends, in sharing the joy and pain and everything that I've been through these last 6 months, from the birth of my son to finding out, you know, about my mom's cancer diagnosis. So, I really appreciate both of Al and Jeff, your support, with everything. And it's been a really nice, you know, relationship with both of you. And the show, I credit the show, you know, for making it all happen. And Al, you know, when my phone rings, my wife always says, like, is it Jeff or Al? And I go, oh, it's Al. But it's honestly, it's been such a great experience, and I can't wait to just keep going with it. And with that being said, let's bring in the man, Al Ridella. Al
Ridella.
How are you?
Doing good.
Al's been behind the scenes here the entire time. He's been in the green room watching every show. This is now, Al, your first time in, and it won't be your last. We're gonna bring you back to talk about other things. I know, under duress, you don't want to do it, but too bad. Al, you've been I don't know how long you've been working for Four Wall, but I feel like since I heard of Four Wall, your name was synonymous with it. But
about 20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
Wow. What do you? I'm sure you do a million things, but what do you do? Do you have a job title?
VP of
Here,
Business
I'll put up his. Here we go. You're gonna get your first solo here, Al. Bam! There it is.
I mostly are outside meeting clients, finding out what they need, what we could do to make things better, and listening to what their requirements are, because everyone's requirements are totally different, designer-wise, and knowing what each designer will need, and help them with their ideas. We need to load this in quicker. Well, try this, try that. What about this? That kind of stuff.
I feel like one of your many strong suits is that it seems that you can be every place all at once. You're talking to this client, you're visiting that client, and then you somehow vaporize yourself and move across town or across the country. I mean, I feel like the last time you and I were talking business, we were standing at the Penn and Teller Theater in Vegas, like, you know, trying to figure out what light to buy for them.
That will go anywhere. I also like to help young kids. I like to see young kids make it and go to the schools and try to teach the kids what to do. I mean, that's a big part of it.
Absolutely. So how's the shutdown affecting you? I mean, you can't, all those things, all the travel, all the going to schools, you can't do it. So
no, first of all, the wife said to me, this is the longest we've been together since we've been married. Usually I'm in the city 3 nights a week, or on the road 3 nights a week somewhere. You know, even before Four Wall, I was with High End, and I was on the road every day because that was the job.
Yep.
And we couldn't fly at that point after 9/11, so we drove. We take the car, drive to D.C., drive to Virginia, drive wherever we had to go. So it was much different.
Well, we all know it, and you're definitely someone who's client first, and you know it shows, and we all appreciate that.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for saying yes to this, for entertaining this.
No, I thank both of you guys have done an incredible job, and anybody who's watched the show, you two have really grown as a team, watching it and talking to each other, and it's incredible how you guys have, from the first show, if you watched the first show and you watched the last show, you guys just really gelled together very well.
Well, for me, I could only go up because I never had done this before. Drew at least had a little experience with this. I definitely,
I think Drew out of this by listening to what really goes on.
100%. I mean,
what really went on. He just would say, "Oh, here's a designer." Well, what about that designer? What happens?
Yeah. I think I've learned, you know, and I've learned so much about. I'm not from this industry. Some people, when they talk, they kind of include me. I mean, I work for Four Wall, but I went to motorcycle mechanic school. But I'm from that industry, and it's been. But I always try to use my background from mechanics and wanting to learn how things work, and I apply it to everything that I do, whether it's in marketing, whether, you know, even if it's with the lighting design or a light. And then I also I'll kind of use motorcycles as like my go-to when I first started. At least I'd be like, well, I knew so many motorcycle models and manufacturers that it was easy for me to remember lights, and I just kind of applied that knowledge to like, Harley Davidson high end. You know what I mean? Like I just use that, and it's been such a great learning experience. Each episode, I learned so much.
Me too. I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years. I still learn so much from everyone we have on, especially since we don't have just lighting designers on. We have people on who do other things. So there's really there's a lot to learn. Everyone has a different process. What I've learned is that everyone really brings their own unique selves to what they do.
That's the amazing part.
Yeah. And I will also say that, really the reason that we're doing this, one of the biggest reasons we're doing this is because Al called me, like before this even was an idea. Al called, I think, just a few weeks into the shutdown, just to see how I was doing, just to check in, just a random phone call to say, like, we've all been sitting around. How are you? And we had a great chat. And then so many things happened between then and the idea that this idea popped into my head, which came from several others, and we've talked about where this idea came from before. But I called Al with this idea about a discussion group, and he said it sounded interesting. He said he'd get right back to me, and he did. And the next thing I knew, I was on a conference call with Al and Drew talking about what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do this and what it would be called. And I remember, Drew, we were so excited about it. I think it was a Wednesday, and we were like, I think you said, can we start on Sunday? And I was like, let's wait. let's
find some people.
Yeah. And it's been exciting, and it's been, it's been fun actually going out and finding people to talk to also. I mean, part of this is, it's writing questions, because the questions are different every week. And it's been fun to really reach out to colleagues. And I know Al is a huge part of that also. He's the ambassador of our show. So thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you, guys. You guys are great. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
And we're going to...
Art is out of the hospital and he's home.
Hey, that's great news.
So that's good news.
That's great.
Awesome. Well, Al, I'm sending you back into your green room, as we call it, where you hang out each episode. And I know you like it in there.
Right.
So
thank you.
All right, Al, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how it all started, just by Al reaching out to you. We were kind of coming off of the virtual event, or the virtual vendor showcase, which I can't believe the year is already coming up for that. And even when we did that, it was just kind of like, all right, we're going to do this virtual vendor showcase. It's going to be great. And I didn't see anything past that. I mean, we were kind of talking about I was doing a few things, but I definitely did not think that it would be 23 episodes and how long it's been going. And like you said, I just hope I think we are going to keep it going, as long as we possibly can.
Well, we started this because so many people in the entertainment business were suddenly and, really sort of tragically told they couldn't go to work the next day. And as I spoke with people individually, and I know a lot of us have had these same conversations, we realized that the isolation and the fear was universal. And it would be nice to not only give people a chance to talk about it, but to let others listen so that they knew they weren't alone in this. Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah, I think it's been nice too to see. I mean, we got, some people watching right now, but after each episode and people talking about, wow, that was great. It was great to hear from people in the industry. And also the panelists that we have on, it's great to hear them all echo the same thing, where it's just great to talk to other people who they don't ever get a chance to talk to, or there's never a stage manager. There's never 4 stage managers in a room where they can have a conversation. I mean, even when we're not live, those conversations still can go on for hours if we let it. If our wives weren't saying like, all right, time to,
I know, it's dinner time.
Yeah,
that's true. I mean, each of these panels could go on another hour easily. But then no one would watch it. People would look at the time stamp and they'd be like, no way. I feel like as it is over an hour, people are afraid of what we do. But I'm glad people are watching. That's the other thing. Like I'm excited that we actually have people who care enough to learn about the other people in the business that are out there. So that there are technicians and designers who tune in to hear what a stage manager has to say.
Yeah, definitely.
So where are we? I don't know. So how do we, I guess, the other thing I wanted to say was, so in the beginning, this has changed. What we've done has changed so much. I mean, we started, I remember that first conversation, we started talking about asking the same guests, asking the same questions each week. That was part of that was going to be, part of the show, that everyone would get the same questions about, in the beginning, what they're cooking. I mean, that's sort of how it all started. And then we chose to adapt to each group specifically, and to adapt as the world around us was changing, as COVID became worse and the shutdown became longer, and also to adapt politically and socially to what was going on around us.
Yeah, and I think even when we first started, we've always tried to make sure that our panels were diverse. Yeah. We're going to maintain that as well moving forward, 100%. And I think it just is a good thing for the industry. And as we have new guests on and different titles, different, as they can, we'll always have this platform for whoever wants to come on, and all the different, it won't just be lighting designers. I think, we're always going to have different people on. So
I think it really has always been an important part of how we put the panels together. And that, of course, that absolutely will not change. It's an important part of what we do. And even though we started talking about what people were cooking and what hobbies they were picking up, we actually, we did move through some great discussions about equity and inclusion in our business. And
the conversation just started happening organically, which was nice. Yeah.
That's the thing. So we didn't have to, there were a few episodes where we did force feed the question, and we found we didn't have to do that anymore. People would talk about it without being asked to talk about it. When we ask people what they're doing, that's, part of what a lot of people are doing and part of what's on their mind. As the shutdown got worse and worse, and we realized we'd be here longer and longer, we decided to delve a little deeper into our guests' personal process and how they approach their jobs. And to contrast that with what is actually happening now, what they're doing during the pandemic as opposed to what they do before and after. And that's how we approach the questions each week also. We really do customize the questions. Some of them are the same, but they have a very specific bent towards who's on the show.
Yep. And we're going to keep going. Like I said at the top of the show, if you're tuning in a little late, we just wanted to kind of just do a quick recap. We will be back next week with the panel. This was just we wanted to still do a show, but with everything going on, in the real world and in election stuff, it was just like, let's just take a break from a panel, and we'll get back to it next week.
This was supposed to be the fast one. We were supposed to do this for 15 minutes.
I know.
And then get out. I will say, just to add on to what you just said, there's so many people we want to talk to, and so many different topics we want to discuss, and so many different kinds of panels, and we're not going to stop anytime soon. So I hope people watch.
And in the coming weeks, we're going to have riggers, educators, industry salesmen and women, lighting designers who are working on Christmas or holiday events. And then we plan on doing a Christmas special, which will be kind of a fun one to kind of wrap up the year. It'll be the last show of the year, which is, I say it all the time. It's crazy, but it is. when we schedule the shows and we look at the calendar, it's just like it's made time go by so much faster. Times already doesn't really mean anything, but it just makes it go even faster, putting these together. And I look forward to it every Sunday, and I can't wait to do more. If there's any sort of topics that anybody else would like us to cover, if you comment it, we definitely will read and we'll take that into consideration in putting together more panels. So
absolutely. Next week, riggers, like a deep dive. I'm going to learn so much about that. I have no idea. So I'm really excited about that. And then educators again. So riggers and then educators. We've been checking in with design teachers, throughout this, and now we're gonna have a little midterm check-in. So tune in.
Yep.
Great
Well,
guests.
yep. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
I was like, oh, it's only gonna be 30, like what you said. It's only gonna be like 30 minutes. Nope.
I know.
It's okay.
for
Thank
watching.
you again, Jeff. Thank you again. And thank you so much for all the work that you put in and for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh my God, there's one more thing I have to say. What nobody knows is that Drew is actually doing all the camera switching also. So Drew's basically directing, like he's on there, and he's talking, but anytime like anyone switches screens, that's actually Drew doing all that stuff too. So yeah.
I'm gonna solo you up for that one, Jeff. No,
Thanks. I'll say that at the beginning of an episode soon too, so that just in case.
Yeah. So if I'm not saying much, I'm listening, but I'm also doing my thing too.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna let everyone go have dinner, including us.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thanks again for watching. And like I said, if you have any suggestions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section. We will look at them, and we will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.